Hello friends, in this video we will explain you the difference between an end user and a consultant. This is a very common term which is used across the industry when you talk about any business transformation project, especially in the ERP world. The users are typically classified as end users. End users are nothing but the business users who are going to be actually using the system once it is in production or it has gone live. They are the users who were previously using some other software to do the same task. The organization then decided to implement an ERP software like Oracle or SAP, and then they underwent a lot of phases of a project, like they explained the requirements what they have, they explain any kind of pain points which they faced with the current system, they explain what reports do we need out of the application, they explain any kind of government related reporting requirements which they might need out of the application, and they might explain anything which is specific to their business, what they would like to see in the application or in the new software which is being implemented. Once they have explained their requirements, they are demonstrated about the same processes being carried out in the new application. They validate yes, whether what was required is being achieved or not. If it is not being achieved, or if there are any variations they think, they explain it, they give their feedback. The implementation team, which has the consultants, they go back to their work area, they implement or they incorporate that feedback what has been given, and then they also prepare something called as test scripts. Okay, so who else than the actual business users know what to test, what to expect out of the system? So it is primarily the end users who provide the inputs for the test scripts of what scenarios they would like to test and ensure that they pass before they give a decision whether they want to use the new application or still it requires more effort to be corrected. The consultants then, after getting all that feedback, working on the new system, configuring it as per the requirements of the end users, they prepare something called as training content. The training content can be in form of user manuals, or it can be in form of videos, or it can be in any other format like quick how to do things and so on. The users are then imparted the training, a hands-on training on how they are going to actually use the new system or the new application. Once they are hands-on and familiar, they are also handed over any kind of training content or training material which they can refer at any later point of time. Once the end users have been trained on how to use the application, they will use the test scripts or the scenarios what they had given an input earlier to test or to execute the same scenarios in the application. When I say application, in the newly implemented application or a newly implemented ERP application, once they do that or execute those steps, they will either find some kind of issues or errors which they will report as bugs. These bugs again need to be fixed by the consultant from the implementation team. If there are no bugs, which is very unlikely, or the bugs have been fixed, in that case the users take a decisive call that yes, we are okay for this, using this new system and its features. Parallelly, while all these stages were going, the implementation consultants would have also requested the end users or the business users with a set of data templates. These data templates are required so that the business users can fetch the data from their existing system either by themselves or by taking help of the internal IT team. So they have to validate the data whether it is correct, free from any errors or duplicity, because there might be a situation if your old system did not have enough validations, you might have created duplicate suppliers, items or customers. Once that data has been provided to the consultants by the end users, they will perform the data migration activity. The data migration activity in the cloud version of Oracle is done using something called as FBDI, or a file-based data import mechanism, which is nothing but a set of processes which have to be run by the consultants. Please note that provision of data is the responsibility of end users. The consultants are responsible to upload that provisioned data into the new application, so that once you are live to perform the tasks on the new application, you have the actual data to use. Once all these activities of data migration and everything has been done, on one fine day, you are ready to start using the new application. And that is when we say that we have gone live on the production. So let me just give you a small demonstration of what an end user does and what a consultant does in Oracle Cloud Applications. I'm not going to take a lot of time, but just to give you a gist of what an end user actually does once the system is live and what is expected from a consultant. Let's say now once the application is live, you as a general accountant or an accountant within the finance department is supposed to pass certain journal entries. In order to do that, I will navigate to my general accounting work area, and within journal accounting work area, I would press on the journals. The journals link is going to give me an access to a work area where I can do all the tasks related to journals. For example, if I look at the task list, I can look at manage journals, create journals. I even have an option to create journals in a spreadsheet. Similarly, I can create allocations, which is again a very essential process for the accountants, where they might need to allocate an amount from a specific cost center to other cost centers. So there might be a lot of bases to do that. So everything is possible over here. But as an end user, what bases am I going to define and other things? That's something I will just make an entry. As an end user, what bases I have to enter, okay, or what are the values for those bases? That's going to be my job as an end user or a business user. But what is the formula which has been implemented in the background? That is something, a job of a consultant. As an end user, I do not do the job of writing that formula. That's done by the consultant. And once that formula has been tested, I can use, I as an end user can use it multiple times to generate the allocation journals. Okay, for example, let me show you if I have to pass a journal entry, how I would do that. I would click on create journal. This is a journal entry page where the fields which are marked with a star on the left of the label, they are all mandatory fields, whereas the fields which are not marked with a star or an asterisk, they are not mandatory to be entered. So I am going to select my ledger or my GL, which is Amicon primary ledger. I'm going to give an accounting date. I'm going to select over here an category of adjustments, for example. And over here, I am going to enter the account. In systems like Tally, you just are bothered for entering an account head, like am I doing a stationary expense journal, or am I doing a sales journal, or whatever. But here you would see I typically enter the entire combination or descriptive fields or attributes which I want to capture while making this journal. Okay, and these attributes or different segments are going to be used later on for reporting purpose. This entire information what I might require, okay, to report at later point of time, I am going to explain it as a end user to the consultant. The consultant is going to configure something called as a chart of accounts for me, and then I would be able to enter. Okay, so let me just enter a value like let's say 001 represents my company. Okay, then department could be, let's say a training department. Then natural account is the actual account head. Okay, I see how easy it is to search. I can, let's say my all expense accounts start with 5. So let me do that. I'm going to say that, okay, it's a salary expense, for example. Okay, and line of business, probably Oracle or SAP or whatever, like I'll say it's a training line of business. Project, no projects, so I have given a default one. Then I have an intercompany of no intercompany, and a future for any future users. Okay, and I'll click OK. Okay, and then I'll give what is the debit amount. So basic rule of accounting, right? For a specific journal, you have to have your debits equal to credits. If I try to save it now, the system is going to give me an error saying that you must enter either an entered debit or an entered credit amount. Okay, this is for the second line, sorry. Okay, let's say I delete this line. Okay, let me delete this and let me try to save it now. Okay, see, it gives you an error. The entered debits do not equal to the entered credits. Okay, so you see these basic validations are already built on into the application, and you as a end user or a business user, you are doing, and you as a business user while entering these transactions, are notified by the system that you have done some kind of mistake. So just correct it. Okay, so if I, let's say, do a save, okay, and before this so let's say before I start entering it, I want to copy this. I can use Control C to copy this combination entirely. Yeah, and let me enter the second journal line. Okay, why I have copied, I'll tell you. Okay, let's say if I just do like this, and the credit I want to make it to the bank account. Okay, the bank account is a kind of an asset. So let's say I want to, okay, I could have easily searched by there. I have paid it through my ICICI account. Okay, which is okay. And let me just do this. Perfect. And okay. And I'm going to enter a credit of 100 over here. Okay, I can enter, of course, a meaningful description as well. I'll do a save, and this saves my journal. Now, if you see, there was no error which came, right? So saving a journal is not going to do anything to my balances. In order to update my account balances, I need to do a posting process, which I can do by clicking on post over here. The ultimate impact of entering these transactions and posting it is that I can see the impact on my balance sheet or income statement wherever it is applicable, right? So in case I want to look at the balance sheet. Okay, the balance sheet again is something specific to each organization. You might have different groupings of accounts and everything, right? So those different groupings of accounts are known to you as a end user or a business user. But how that grouping is going to be maintained within the new software or the new application is the job which is going to be done by the consultant. Okay, so as an end user, if I want to look at, okay, or as a business user, I can look at or I can run the balance sheet report which the consultant has configured for me. If I go to others, there is a financial reporting center, which is a centralized place to run all your reports. And you can see there is a EMI balance sheet or the Emicon balance sheet report which we have built. We, in the sense, the consultant has built and has made it available for me as a user who has the required privilege to run this report. Please note, not all business users or end users can run this report and have access to it. Only a specific set of users who are entitled to do that, they are going to have the access. How easy it is to run as an end user, I just click on it, right? I didn't have to do any kind of juggling on an Excel sheet or nothing. I just need to enter the accounting period for which I want to run, let's say Jan 22, and click on OK. And you can see on your screen, there is a data which is appearing. Okay, see, there is total assets of this much, total equity. There is a net income of 240,000 and net total equity which comes as 760,000, right? So ultimately your total value, right, it all becomes as 760,000. Okay, see, this is, and in case you want to share it to somebody, you always have an option to export it to an Excel. I do all these jobs as a end user, right? But what has gone behind in creating this report for me, that's a job of a consultant. And that's what we are trying to explain, that how exciting your role can be if you opt to become a Oracle or, for that matter, a SAP ERP consultant. Okay, if I show you the screen, which typically is accessible to the consultant to make this kind of a report, you'll be, surprised to see that how easy it is to use, but it's not accessible for the end users to make any kind of changes. Okay, let me just show you that. Let me click on done. Let's go on to the tasks and open the workspace for financial projects. Let's go to tools and let's launch the Financial Reporting Web Studio. This is the tool which helps a consultant to make these reports like financial statements, your balance sheet, your consolidated income statement, and so on. And this is not the only thing which a consultant does. Consultant does everything which goes in the background, which enables a business user to perform their daily activities. So it's your choice, actually. Do you want to become an end user or a recipient of the services, or you want to become a consultant who wants to provide those services? Okay, if I navigate further, I can go to shared or probably my folder, my personal folder. I go to financial statements, and this is where my balance sheet looks like. Okay, I've just clicked on it so that it loads as a consultant how it looks like. If I click on the grid, this is, you can see over here, and I can make changes to it as much as I want. Okay, there are formulas which I have written. There are the account balances which are being retrieved automatically from the application. And there are, of course, the labels which I have given. Okay, I have designed this report as a consultant. I can proudly say that. Okay. I hope this clarifies you the difference of what you do as an end user or a business user and a consultant. Signing off, this is Radhesh from Amicon.